Hey, good to have you on, man.
So good to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Going to take
I
you
do
back.
like your I do like your cup too. It's important to be heavy metal about it. Brilliant. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to take you back to when you came to Australia. How did you go?
Yeah. Oh, it was fantastic. Australia, bucket list things, and I was so excited when we got the offer by Hardline Dougie and Amabel at Hardline Media, and I just thought, oh yeah. And I remember we came in at Sydney, and the next morning I could see just the top of the harbour bridge. So I had 5 minutes where the driver took me around. I jumped out, took a picture, I got back in and went again. And I was like, but I knew I was there. And, Canberra, it's very different. And you forget how big Australia is, from Perth to, but amazing. It was almost like I made friends for life in like a day. Just meeting people. It was like, how is this possible? Just the warmth of everybody. I loved the bar. I loved the atmosphere, the climate, the people, the food. It was like, wow, this is amazing, and you have these images of Australia because it literally is on the other side of the planet. And I always thought, oh, one day I'd love to be able to go. So to be able to come and play, even the idea, it was important to me because, Venom had never been anywhere near Australia. And I thought, well, okay, if you can't have this guy, and this guy, then fair enough. But if I could deliver this guy and this guy, then it's up to the other guy to come. They're still the same people playing the same things. Why can't I do that? Okay, people are going to want to kick me in the shins and say, oh, you're not the... I don't care about that. It's about the music,
Yeah.
40 years ago, you sit on a bed and you write a song. That's my song. I'm going to record it. I'm going to demo it. I'm going to play it to people. Hopefully they like it. 40 years later, that was the last time I listened to it. But someone else listened to it last week, yesterday, the day before, the month before. It's become something else. It's become meaningful to them. And if I can bring the guy who wrote that and you can watch him play it to you without that meaning, should I not do that? I have to.
Yeah. I don't normally touch on this sort of thing, but I saw some banter online the other day, and some guy, let's call him a wag, basically said no Kronos, no Venom, blah, blah, blah. You've pretty much summed it up in the in what you just said. But are you're still copying that?
Well, it's quite an odd thing because there's a subversity that goes on with Venom thing, which was always there, and I go back to the scene of the crime. So I was there at the beginning. We all from the same place. We all saw each other. Manta's girlfriend lived across the road from me, so I saw him all the time. Kronos's girlfriend was my girlfriend's friend, so I know him. We used to go to the same pubs, the same shows. I saw Venom with 10 people in a little old church hall, with Clive. So, so, and of course I had my band, but when I went into Venom, it was because Conrad had gone and they wanted to make it happen. And I was instrumental in bringing Mantis back because he didn't want to know. So, but they knew that me and him are kind of like brothers. So I could convince him to come back, which we agreed I would do it if he came and he would do it if I was there. So that's what we did. And at the time, then people, years later, I didn't think about anything. These were my friends. I got to write new music and play and tour, and I got to play some great songs, Bloodlust, In Nomine Satanis, Warhead. Who doesn't want to do that? So I was like, fucking brilliant. And they were like, well, we can only think of one person who A, knows the band from the beginning, and B, can do the job and knows where we went wrong, and that's you. So I was like, brilliant. Oh, thank you very much. Okay. So I didn't consider I was replacing Kronos and oh my God. And it was like I was just not thinking that. In fact, it was about 10 or 15 years later before the first person said, how did it feel, filling big boots? And I said, I wear my own boots. I don't fill anybody else's boots. I was like, I just didn't think about it. Why would I? So the meaning becomes something else. Of course, those characters and those people from that time don't want to let go of that because, they still want to be 16 even though they're 50, or they still want to be, 20 even though they're, and so music is evocative and it gives us a sense of time, from an ABBA song to a, whatever it is, and kids these days will hear a new album that we're doing, for example, but in 30 years time, when they hear one of those songs, it might evoke an emotion the same way. So you become quite protective about that. And I think initially his fans, the chronophiles, I call them, and Abaddon created his own little ball of wax, and Mantis has his too, and I have mine. When they feel that you're disparaging them or you're trying to make their place in history less than it is, then they attack. They feel, but they only do that when you're succeeding. So I don't get it at any other point from young fans or nobody else. But every time we release something or every time we announce a big show like Vakin, I got it. And, you'd find these people going, no Kronos Nova. It's like, yeah, no Christmas socks, no Kronos, no sun, blah, blah, blah. It's just word speak. But a lot of those fans that have done that, I will challenge and just go, I don't mind you feel like that. And I totally understand that. But justify why. Why is it so important? What do you think that I'm doing? I can't change the history. I can't go right. No, now I'm this. The black metal album was never recorded and doesn't exist. The shows that Venom did never happened. I can't do that. That's history. It's there. So, and the person who was there is still performing. So it's like, so he's got all those records, you've got them, he's still performing and able to sing those records. Yeah. So what do you think is really bad I'm doing? I'm not going to shoot you. I'm not doing anything. So, it's just panic. It's just panic. They want to keep it as pure as it is. I totally understand that, but sometimes it's not so pure, and my view is exactly that, is if a fan wants to hear a B-side that any form of Venom will never play, as a fan of music, I want to hear it too. So if I can play it, then I'm going to do it. Absolutely. In nomine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so far, everything we've done, I've managed to play or convince us to play, and we played every song of Welcome to Hell, every song of black metal. We've just done a series of anniversary shows, and I'm halfway through what we're saying. So, I'm going to get there. Even if they don't want to do it, I'm going to get there.
So you mentioned some anniversary shows. Where were they? Were they like your own tour run, or were they tied in with festivals?
Yeah, we did Alcatraz. We were doing our normal thing, and then Oliver Weishammer from Keep It True Festival in Germany, who actually was kind of instrumental in putting the whole, making us do it. Yeah, he didn't put it together, but he made us do it, by asking me to make it happen. And so he came and said, look, it's an anniversary of the black metal album. Do you not want to do anything special? So I talked to Mantis, and Jeff was like, yeah, I'd like to. And it was clear that nobody else, Abaddon will just jump on any bus that's going, of course. So that wasn't worried, but there's no way Conrad was going to want to do that, because he would see it as not being good for his new band, giving away, because he'd have to use those two and not his present guys. So for him, it was all like a head fuck, and he didn't want to know. I'm sure that's why he hasn't gone near it. And he doesn't want to give importance to that if he's putting a new album out. Whereas for us, it was very different. It's like, it's eclectic, it's incorporated, it means everything. So it's like, you can, if Jeff wrote a song and Tony was there and played a song, we can't play that song because, of course we can. So, Oliver came and said, well, it's the anniversary. And I said, well, let's do something ultra special. Why don't we do Hammersmith Odeon 1984 that same set and smash the shit out of stuff and just have some fun. You know, why not? It's not 1984, but let's make it 1984. And so Oliver was like, let's do it. Well, the minute we announced that, Alcatraz then got in touch and said, will you do that here? And I said, well, we can't do the 1984. And they said, well, we've got a 50-minute slot we'd love you to fill, closing the main stage. And it was like, okay. So I said, well, the album, Black Metal album, it's the anniversary, it runs at 48 minutes. So why don't we do that from the beginning to end? Never been done. Hell and Back, Sacrifice, we'll War with Satan, put the whole thing together. And that's what we did. F-I-C, easy, yeah. It's like the Muppet Show version of Satan.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah.
Did you do the whole line them up?
Oh, yeah. You gotta do, you know, and but that's actually online. You can go and see that now. They aired it on RTE, some art channels throughout Europe, and they've been replaying Alcatraz thing. But it was wonderful. We had Nick Barker there as a guest, you know, he played. I wanted to get Lombardo, but he was busy with Testament. So I then asked Nick Barker, who said absolutely. You know, so that was amazing. And then when we did that, Black Dahlia had Trevor die, and they were due to play Bloodstock in the UK 2 days later. And so Vicky Gregory Hungerford, who's the booker, she contacted and said, look, I know you're doing this thing at Alcatraz. Would you come and do that here? Because we have this, you know, Trevor's died. And I said, yes. So I dedicated it to him, the set. And we went to Bloodstock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 1,000 degrees, standing on stage, playing the Black Metal album in full. People lost their shit. They just lost their minds. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. The opportunity to play that. Again, you could say, well, Nick Barker wasn't the drummer on the album. I wasn't the voice on the album or the player on the album, but Jeff was on the album. But it was, again, the fans weren't going, well, that guy's got a different hat on and that guy's beard's not red, it's blue. They didn't give a shit. It was like, oh my God, I get to hear this album for the first time live in its entirety. That's the point. The music is the point.
That's what it's about, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Right. Due to be released very shortly is this.
Yeah, baby.
Tell me about this. How did you go? How did you go getting it together? How long did it take? Any ridiculously Spinal Tap stories coming out of the recording?
No, unfortunately. Apart from the fact is, like, if you look at the cover, you can see your face in it. Like, how much more black can it be? No more black. No more. But no, I mean, you know, I had to have a hip operation. And it was the end of our season in 2019. We finished with Vakin, and I was doing my hip operation. They said it'll be 8 to 12 weeks of recovery. So I thought, well, while I'm doing that, so I called Jeff and said, look, when I'm doing that, why don't I come to Portugal and we'll just start, you know, finishing off stuff for another album, because we were due one, and we'd just been touring since the first one, so we hadn't had any opportunity. And then I spoke to the label, and we would then put it out maybe March and then go straight on tour. Of course, pandemic hit, so nobody was going anywhere. So we just thought, well, let's wait until we can get together. But we just write at home and share ideas, which is what we did. Of course, in a month became 2 months, became 3 months, became obvious that nothing was going to happen. So we just thought, let's go into production. Let's just go for it. So I completed songs, Jeff completed songs. We changed the songs back and forward. I had studio here. He had studio in Portugal, and Jeremy Kling, who's drumming, had his studio in Tampa. So we just thought, right, okay, well, we have all of our studios because of digital media like this, and Zoom and Teams and Skype and FaceTiming. We're in the same room. So we can even play it and listen to each other while we're doing it. So we thought, well, what? Okay, we're not physically there, but we are there. So that's what we did. We committed about 24 songs completed, recorded everything for them, and then decided which ones would fit part one and which ones may be for part two, and then put the album together. No real Spinal Tappy moments, and the songs kind of did themselves. Production-wise, Jeff handled it again. Slightly different to Arvia. We kind of made it more aggressive, more real, more you're with the band, so there's less distortion on the guitars, almost clarity, and the separation less on the bass, so it's not just all that noisy underground stuff. So you can actually hear the instrumentation and the fury in there, and the impulse of the energy hopefully comes through too. So it wasn't based, we didn't think we're going to make it sound like this or make it sound like that. The whole point was just be who we are now. You know, when you're 20 and you write a song when you're 20, all of your 20-year-old angst comes out. When you're 40, you don't have that 20-year-old angst. You have different things to be pissed about, you know? So that's what you're going to talk about. And that progresses. And the influence of what's happening around you, the environment, the lying motherfuckers that run us, the thieving bastards who keep us poor while they keep themselves rich, you know, all of the crap stuff that we know. So you want to talk about that, but maybe in a more mature way, maybe in a more angry way, maybe in a more pointed way, that when you're young, just going, you're all wankers, why don't you fuck off? You know, now you can go, this is why you're wankers, because you actually know why they're wankers. So so that kind of came through. So it was a liberating process, and I think for all of us, and we each individual could have total freedom to be a musician. So, you know, Jeff's solos explode. There's like, when you think the Tyrant and these rich patterns on Don't Feed Me and yeah, Burn Like a Burn, you know, the half the song is almost like instrumental.
I was thinking, oh, an instrumental, that's interesting. And then like 2 minutes after it started, the vocals came in. So, okay.
Yeah,
I had to actually double check if it hadn't gone into the next song. But,
exactly. Yeah, and I mean, again, you know, you want to get into a vocal pattern straight away, but Jeff just got lost in this creation of this, and you know, as a musician, I get to play that as well. You know, so I get to play along with that and hear it. So it wasn't about going, it's too long. It is too long if it's an intro to a song, but it's not an intro to a song. It's a piece. The whole thing is a piece. You know? And so it was valuable, you know. So to be able to have that kind of freedom was wonderful.
Yeah. My favorite track is probably the Dance Macabre, which is you went, not hearing that as people's favorites or unexpected?
Well, yeah, a lot of people, quite a few people have said the dance has been their track, or one of their tracks, and a couple have said it's their track, but others have gone, you know, more Burn Like a Burn or Tyrant, that kind of epicness, the kind of very. But for me, I find that really quite interesting, because for me, when I wrote the dance Dance Macabre was the whole where the album started. The album was going to be called 9, and I based the artwork on Dante's Inferno. So it was about that journey of that, you know, and because I think it also relates to our own life in very different ways. Of course, it was very naive then, and now we're not as naive as we were. But the journeyman thing is the same, you know, the creation of our choices and how that reflects on us, whether it's good, whether it's bad. You go, that guy's a wanker. Why is he a wanker? Yeah, because he said I'm parked in his spot. It's not his fucking spot, blah, blah, blah. So you were being a bit obtuse to him, and his response was to you, and you're responding, you know what I mean? So you kind of build into this maelstrom where two guys are rolling around on the floor going, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You know, it's like, where did we get to here from, you know? So kind of that. And the dance was one of the first things I held the whole thread together, which was the theme of the album. So I'm when people go to that one, it's great, because that kind of, for me, gives you the whole theme of the whole thing. You know, this is the meaning of it all. You know, the journey we're on, to the unquestionable answer. You know. Or an answerable question, sorry, is that, you know, what's in a black hole? There's only black, everything gets crushed in there, blah, blah, blah. So how do we find out? Well, we don't know. Oh, so how do we know what happens in there? Well, we assume, oh, we guess, well, we think, okay. But what if you went in and it was full of beaches and coconuts and dancing and it was amazing? Would be brilliant, but you couldn't come back and tell me. And the same thing with death. You know, ultimately death, you know, if you go, what's it like at the top of Everest? Just go and then come back and tell me. What's it like, that fish dish? What's that like? Eat it, then tell me. But you can't go into death and come back and go, this is what it's like. So don't worry, you have to experience it yourself. It's the one experience you have to do. But once you're doing it, like a black hole, you can't come back and share it. So that's kind of what I wanted to do, was to, you know, we're chasing this, what is next? What is at the end of the universe? How is, you know, we're always chasing that. And some things in life are for the individual to experience solely. So influenced, yes, but the experience is yours. Hence the black black hole on the cover. Come in and find what you find. Could be enlightening, could be something, could be nothing, could be everything, but come in and find it. The answer to what you think about the album is yours alone. And this person's is theirs. Every experience is that. And even the title, you know, There's Only Black, that came, it was 9. And then Jeff, I was writing on some stuff, and then Jeff sent a track to us. I've just sent you a track. I said, okay, I'll have a listen. And he said, yeah. I said, what's it? What's the, you know, have you got any lyrics? And he was like, yeah, I wrote lyrics for it because you know, it's about when I died. And I was like, okay. He said, yeah, because I just didn't, there was nothing. There was nothing. It was just a void, and there was just black. So I called it There's Only Black. And the moment he said that, I was like, you know, a light went on, if you'll excuse the pun. A light went on when he said there was only black. And I was like, that's it. That's the album. That's the album. Because what happens if you turn the sun out? Look at your backdrop. Fucking beautiful. If every one of those stars went out, I wouldn't see anything. It'd be black. Because beyond the stars, there's only black. So beyond what we know, there's only black. Until we know it, and then it's light.
And how much more black can you be?
None more black.
None more black. Very quickly, on the Spinal Tap theme, what's the funniest or silliest or most unfortunate thing that's happened on tour? Any stories spring to mind?
Well, you know, after so many years, lots of things. There was a moment where we were playing in Rome in the 80s, and I got very excited, and you know, because I never really owned instruments, because in the early days I was unemployed, you know, for what seemed to be my whole life. So I could never afford anything. So even when I used to go to the studio, I would borrow a friend's bass guitar, borrow someone else's leads, borrow someone's amplifier or cabinets, and inadvertently I would break the things accidentally. But anyway, so I managed to get 2 very cheap basses. I thought I'd get 2 because they were cheap enough and I had a bit of money. So I got these 2 basses to take on tour. One was a backup in case anything happened to the first one. Of course, it's me. They don't call me the Demolition Man for nothing. So obviously something's going to happen to one of them. But so I get very excited, go onto the store. I grab the bass by its bollocks at the bottom and I hold it up in the air. And then I go to walk up and I just threw it up in the air like that and walk off stage. Of course, it comes down, smashes the fucking headstock, and it's like, it's first show. This is the first show.
Oh,
we haven't even started yet. And so I go in the dressing room, and the guitar tech, Jim Turse, amazing guy, brilliant guy, runs in and goes, don't worry about your bass. And I was like, why, what's happened to my bass? He went, why, you just fucking threw it up, it came down, it hit, smashed. And I was like, no. And he was like, yeah, don't worry, I had a look, I could see it. I'll go and grab it in a second, I can fix that, so you'll be okay. I was like, oh fuck, thanks Jim. And then I start getting changed, and the bass tech comes in, lug, and says, that was fucking amazing, that was off the map, they were going fucking nuts, you should have saw the kids when I threw the bass out. And I was like, when you threw the bass out? He was like, yeah, well, you broke it, you smashed it. I was like, I know, but Jim said he can fix it. He went, too late now, mate, I just threw it into the audience. So I ran to the side stage to see bits of my bass getting floating all over, and I was like, no. Yeah, we did consider trying to get it back, but one of our old friends. We played a show in Turin, and this guy came around and hung around, and he had been at the original show that we'd done when I toured with Attencraft Exodus with Paul, of course, and Venom on the Nightmare tour. I think it was the Nightmare tour, and we played in Italy, and we played Turin, and Jeff smashed the guitar, and the audience grabbed the broken bits from him, and this guy who was now there with this big grey beard and gigantic guy, he was the kid who actually got the thing, and we had a photo of him holding it up in the audience. So yeah, so I suppose those were quite adventurous.
He grabbed Mantis's guitar back in the day. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So I did that one, but yeah, we did a tour, European tour on the Nightmare tour. It was Attencraft, Exodus, and Venom, and we went through Italy. And when he was in Torino, Jeff smashed one of his guitars, and this young guy grabbed it and then held it up, and they took a photograph. And so years later, when we went to play a show, me and Jeff, this guy was with the promoter all the time, perfect English, and it was only when we were leaving that he said, "Do you remember when you smashed the guitar?" I was the kid, and it's like, oh my God, there's a big guy, big groovy. Yeah, amazing, yeah.
Unreal. Hey, listen, man, I think we should wrap it up to give the next guy a bit of a shot.
All right, bless you.
Could you please give me the horns up into the camera?
Yeah, baby, come on.
Excellent, because it's important to be heavy metal about it.
Yes, absolutely. Keep it real. Always keep it real.
Thanks so much for having a chat to us. Best of luck with There Is Only Black. And hopefully we'll see you out here again soon.
Yep, we're coming early next year with and it looks like possibly Raven. We're going to bring a triple bill, and we're going to fucking slaughter it.
Oh, that one hasn't actually been announced yet.
Not yet. Shh. No, you can say. But dates are coming soon.
Exciter and who?
Possibly Raven at the moment.
Oh,
so we thought 333. That's like almost like 666. Just
we're only half evil. I've actually got a T-shirt. 333. I'm only half evil. All right.
Yeah, baby.
Thanks so much, mate. Right. You have a good one.
Thank you so much, Brad. We should see you soon. Thank you. Be good.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Ciao.